Hello to my collective, welcome back to the channel. This is Reverie Readings and Healings, where I post collective card readings to bring through messages and energies of channeling and activation for the highest and best good of the collective from your higher selves and spirit guides. And today we are doing a pick a card. I say today I'm probably just going to film this intro and pile 1 and film piles 2 and pile 3 on separate days and upload them separately. So once they are uploaded, you'll find links to each pile in the description box. And these cards are from the Shadowscapes Tarot deck. So let's see what we have. For pile 1, we have the Knight of Wands in reverse. Getting a few different angles of the light here. I have both natural light and ring light going on at the moment because it's very rainy here, so not enough natural light on its own. So Knight of Wands in reverse. Okay. We have the Queen of Cups upright for pile 2. Loving that. I'm getting such a peaceful energy from that one. And we have the Ace of Cups in reverse for pile 3. I like to show you what the card looks like upright so you can be sure to make sense of the image for yourself, especially when it's such a detailed type of artwork as the Shadowscapes deck. Alright, so Knight of Wands in reversed, Queen of Cups upright, and Ace of Cups reverse. Take your time, pause the video if you need to, take some deep breaths or do a brief meditation to feel into your body or your intuition or spirit, or to ask your heart to pull you to which pile or piles has or have messages for you, and I'll see you at your reading. Hello, pile 1, this is your reading. If you chose the Knight of Wands in reverse for your significator card, let me see if it helps a little to click the level up just a little bit. See, that glare is why I had the level down, but I think this is a little bit better to have it just a little bit brighter than it was. Okay. I might have to play around with positioning or turn it back down because of that glare, making it impossible to see the cards once they're laid down. We'll see how this goes. All right, I'm being guided to shuffle the Shadowscapes, or one coming out right away. Ace of Swords in reverse. I'm hearing self-protection very strongly, and I'm feeling with it, or with this particular reversal, the way that makes the sword pointed out away from me. And there can be this hesitation to point our incisive vision and words at others for fear of being labeled as bad for attacking them or being aggressive, when actually we're not attacking or being aggressive, we're defending and being assertive. In fact, what I'm being shown is using the sword to draw a line in the sand around yourself, to draw your boundary very clearly. You can even envision like a salt circle or an energy circle around yourself in your daily life, like a sphere, not preventing all energies from coming in, but demarcating sort of what the price of entry is, how you need to behave to be within the sphere. King of Cups in reverse. I'm being told some of you will be drawn to pile 2 as well, with the King of Cups here and the Queen of Cups for pile 2. Some of you work with ocean guides, with Poseidon or Neptune specifically, or have significant Neptune, Pisces, or 9th house placements in your birth chart and might have significant transits going on in those areas or with those planets and placements right now. Poseidon is coming through very strongly as part of this encouragement of self-protection. The Knight of Wands is expressing a similar energy here to that Ace of Swords reverse. It's like the Knight of Wands, being the Knight of Fire, is very unflinching and unhesitating about standing up for what they believe in, including themselves. And believe in yourself is a very strong message here. There's a song lyric in a different language from English that says, I am my own believer. My choice is my leader. I am my own believer. It's a Korean pop song. So parts of the lyrics are using words from English and parts of them are in Korean. But my choice is my leader. I am my own believer is very strong Knight of Wands energy. And Ace of Swords really too. Believing in the clarity of your sight and your instincts. Allowing for accuracy in those instincts. And trusting your fire instead of... I'm being shown Zuko from Avatar The Last Airbender, and how Aang, the Last Airbender, the main character in that TV series, Aang has the power to wield all 4 elements, but at first he's extremely frightened to learn to wield fire because he has seen it hurt people. And of course all 4 elements have immense destructive capacity, but in their universe he has seen fire be wielded to hurt people much, much more than he has seen fire be wielded to hurt, other elements be wielded to hurt people. And he's also experienced losing control of fire and having it hurt someone in a way that he hasn't experienced with the other elements. But you're being encouraged, really deeply encouraged. It's not a push, it's not a pull, it's not a call, it's a fortification energy that's coming in from Poseidon and from the ocean spirits and your spirit guides. Some of you also have spirit animals or spirit totem animals, protector animal spirits from the ocean realms, especially dolphins are coming through. Who are encouraging you to trust your fire. The dolphins are encouraging you to trust your playfulness, and also, so like, not be afraid to invite people into kind of your circle of playfulness, but also not be afraid to kick them back out if needed, be assertive when called for, and to trust your own reading of when it's called for the first time. You were right the first time, instead of second guessing yourself and putting yourself in a situation where you're kind of making people escalate before you listen or before you heed the signs or the red flags. It's definitely true as a general rule that there are some red flags that are more minor than others. So when you see those more minor red flags, they're a signal to lean into conversation and see how they respond to that conversation, and that tells you what your next move is. But your current energy is not being called to do that. Your current energy is being encouraged to believe what you felt, saw, and read the first time out of the situation or experience. Believe in yourself, believe yourself, rather than questioning your own judgment or questioning your reality. Instead of the encouragement here is to ungaslight yourself. You are right, you are correct in your clear judgments. So, for example, if you've recovered a memory you had blocked out, instead of telling yourself, no, that's crazy, those people never would have done that, like, sure, seek professional advice or guidance. I'm not telling you not to seek support and not to seek second opinions, but I am telling you that if this reading is resonating with you, then, and this is really truly your pile, then there's no further evidence needed, there's no further proof needed, there's nothing to second guess or doubt. And whether it's a memory that was blocked out, a memory that wasn't blocked out, a current situation, believe yourself the same way that you would hope or encourage other people to believe victims in certain circumstances, abusive circumstances where boundaries were violated. And you're being encouraged to renew your commitment to yourself, to own your emotions and feel your feelings with the King of Cups, and without hesitation, based on those emotions, express your boundaries. Draw your line in the sand, draw your circle of salt, fortify your bubble so that it's only permeable to truly loving energies that have your best interests at heart, truly trustworthy energies, which is the same thing, because to love is to take someone else's best interests as part of your own. To trust is to rely on someone else to take your best interests as part of their own. So something that is truly trustworthy is something that is truly loving. And it sucks to realize if the memory thing is resonating for you, because that's a strong message. This Ace of Swords is really signaling to me this mental energy where some of you have seen something very clearly but are doubting it and at risk of kind of deeming yourself crazy and participating in gaslighting yourself instead of recognizing that you've seen it clearly. And there's a very similar energy with the Knight of Wands, the fire burning through the fog energy. So if that memory thing does resonate for you, it sucks to recognize that someone or people we relied on to be trustworthy when we were younger actually weren't treating us lovingly at all. And maybe thought they loved us but really didn't. Maybe told us they loved us but really didn't. Maybe really didn't understand what it means to love. Because a lot of people, I'm not saying that the definition of love as a feeling and a sentiment and a feeling of caring is wrong, but it's incomplete. A lot of people will insist, I love you, based on having that feeling of caring. And meanwhile, their actions are belying it the whole time. Their actions are not loving. They are not making the active choice to love you with their actions, words, and treatment and energy. And so it's a gaslight when they tell you they love you. And additionally, this is coming through as well, some people will insist to the ends of the earth and back, they love you in that sentimental feeling of caring way, when really all they feel actually is guilt or obligation. And because they feel that tug, that deep compulsion to do things that are caretaking from whatever place of guilt or obligation or whatever deep sentiment there is there, they go, no, I really do love you. But you can smell that. You can smell that something's off. You can feel that it's not actually coming from a place of, I really care about your best interests. It's coming from a place of, I feel guilty if I don't do this. And it's okay to call out that lie, whether you do it to them or whether you just are honest with yourself and adjust their role in their life or their access to you accordingly. That's up to you and the specific relationship you have with this person. I mean, especially if it's a past situation, they may already just not really be in your life that much anymore. Maybe not at all, or maybe they're still in your life, but their role in your life has changed, so they no longer have the power to affect you the way they used to, right? So this brings us back to that King of Cups message of own your feelings, own your feelings. To own something is also to take it as part of you. And we have these horrible associations with ownership in our society because our society has been dominated for millennia by this pervasive usage of ownership in an abusive way, where we do not take the best interests of the things we own or the people that belong to us and with us to heart, and we don't take the time to understand them or the effort to understand them. So we just think, oh, that's ours, so I can do whatever I want with it. It feels wrong to say we here. I feel like this group has been more on the receiving end of that energy. When ownership actually has a positive side to it, that's not the only definition of ownership. Ownership can also be love. I am taking you as part of myself. I care about your best interests and what it takes to take care of you really, really well. The classic example of this that I've heard teachers use is, someone who loves their car so much that they just take impeccable care of it. They only use the best gasoline, and they make sure they get it serviced every 3 months promptly, and they wash it every week, and they'll hand wash it, and so on and so forth. And that level of combined valuing and understanding and caretaking is possible in relationships. And this King of Cups reversed is calling you to own your emotions, your feelings, your physical somatic senses, and where they intersect with your emotional intuitive senses, to own them in that way, where you are really responsive to them without second guessing, without doubting their validity. All emotions are real and valid. Sometimes we pick up on emotions that aren't ours. Sometimes we misinterpret emotional cues, but all emotions are real and valid. So turn this King of Cups upright by automatically assuming, transforming your default mode into, I'm assuming what I'm feeling is real and valid. Now what? And by assuming that what you're feeling is real and valid and welcoming the feeling and its message, then you can sink into the layers of it, to not to be overwhelmed and drown in it, which the King of Cups reversed ends up doing by resisting the waves. When you resist the riptide, you end up drowning in it. When you swim sideways, you feel into it enough to understand which way it's going, and you swim sideways, you get out of the riptide. But we're not trying to get out of our emotions. We're trying to liberate them so that they can pass through us unhindered. And in order to do that, they need to be heard. Their message, the truth that they are conveying to us, needs to be allowed so that it can be understood and received. And then the emotion is free to pass. And similarly, the pathways within our being, our meridians, our physical body, and our mind also need to be unblocked. So that resistance needs to be softened just enough. That grip needs to be softened. That control needs to be softened just enough to allow them to pass. If complete surrender feels impossible, just enough. If complete surrender feels possible, awesome. Let the tide take you, baby. It will not steer you wrong. It will not lead you astray. And I just heard Poseidon say that, so you're in good hands. I just shook the camera, but I'm actually taking that as confirmation. Okay, where was I? They're saying it's not important. Read these 2 cards that you've had ready to be pulled for the last 15 minutes. Queen of Wands, beautiful. And the World. This is incredible. This is like what's available as a result of learning from these energies. It's kind of like this is the recent past or the far past that you're currently dealing with, and this is the rewards that you're reaping by responding appropriately to these current or recent or past energies. 21. 2 + 1 adds up to 3, and we have these 3 circles or spheres here. And there's a lot of power in doing things in triplicate and in spiritually, there's a lot of power in 3s. And we were talking about drawing your circle around yourself. And I'm also hearing 3 strikes, you're out. So at first I was getting, this is something I've done myself, and I've never been called to share this with people before other than 1 or 2 close friends. Something I've done for myself for years is when I feel my energetic boundaries have been compromised, I fortify them in 3s. I call in or visualize or envision or build, however you would word that for how you work with energy, my boundaries in triplicate. I create a 3-layer wall, so to speak. It's not as impermeable necessarily as a wall. I think of it as like dragon skin. So it's like there's the inner boundary that I personally see as translucent, kind of like this clear liquid boundary lying close to my skin, and then there's the dragon skin lying on top of it, and then there's this shield, this invisible but sparkling shield on top of the dragon skin, kind of acting like a bulletproof vest or a diamond coating on top of the dragon skin. So it's not that it's impermeable to all energies, it's making me I just heard uneffable. There's another word besides impermeable that I'm trying to, I can feel it on the back of my tongue. Untouchable is similar. But yeah, it's making me impermeable to that which I do not give permission to enter. We don't want walls that don't let anything in, because we actually require nourishment and love and connection. But we want walls that are so fortified by our own belief in ourselves and our worthiness of protection, and our willingness to unhesitatingly, unflinchingly act to protect ourselves, that our subconscious is actually programmed to automatically kick things out that are not for us, that are not in alignment with our best interests, that do not serve us. So that is very strongly being offered to you as a meditation that would benefit you, pile one. That kind of establishing energetic flow by running energy through your body, and that is something you can look up dozens of meditations for. And then as you have that flow established, protecting that flow in triplicate like that, with that type of visualization I just described, the 3 layers. And maybe for you the 3 layers will look different, or maybe they'll look different for you on different days. I have moments when I'm really feeling those layers of skin and armor close to my human skin, within and on the surface and outside. Those are the 3 layers. But then sometimes in addition to this, or sometimes instead of this, I need to fortify the bubble that's, maybe 3 feet outside of my skin. That's kind of the standard measuring stick, literal yardstick, because 3 feet is a yard, that people use for a ballpark guesstimate of what a healthy aura is like. It radiates 3 feet outside the body. So maybe you're picturing on some days the 3 layers as the surface of the bubble, the 3 layers of the surface of the bubble 3 feet away from you. And maybe some days you feel called to have that bubble just like a foot away from you, and maybe other days you feel called to have it 5 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet away from you. But that, regardless of which version feels right to you on which moment or day, that meditation is something you're being called to. And I'm being called to explain one more aspect of that visualization or that technique, which is that by having those 3 layers, the way that it feels to me is like that innermost layer is made up of me, of my energy. It's my border. It's true to my feelings. It's based on my feelings, and it's in and of itself vulnerable, which is not a bad thing. However, to protect it, we then have that second layer, the one that I call the dragon skin layer. That's the armor. And then that third layer can be impacted without the dragon skin being impacted. And by it protecting the dragon skin from being impacted, it protects it from being pierced and getting to my vulnerability, my actual boundaries, my actual, it's not that it protects me from feeling anything, but it prevents there being like an actual wound in my energy field that actually needs to be energetically then mended. So I can easily cleanse and mend that most external layer, or discard that entire internal layer and recycle it into a new one. If that external layer gets compromised, it's a lot easier to renew, heal, restore, or replace than the layers that are deeper in. I hope that makes sense. I was really called to explain that for the benefit of this group, this pile. So many things about that meditation would probably benefit you right now, and help you feel like you're walking through the world with intact skin and intact boundaries and armor, without needing to picture yourself in a clunky like suit of knight's armor, or throw up walls that keep everyone and everything out and make you smaller. Those are really key benefits to this meditation. Walls are suffocating, and you don't need that. I'm also getting past, present, future with this triplicate here, so that is speaking to what I was just talking about with the Queen of Wands fulfillment energy. There's a lot of fulfillment energy in the Queen of Wands in the world, so that fulfillment, the safety to pursue your passions peacefully. Passions is somehow the wrong word. The safety to pursue your dreams peacefully is what I'm getting here, is one of many, but the biggest reward that you are going to reap from owning your feelings and owning your boundaries. And I'm being told to leave it there. Some of you may also resonate with the 3-in-1 Holy Spirit imagery from Christianity, or similar numerology from other religious or spiritual traditions. And you're being called to, encouraged and guided to use that for your protection, your cleansing, your healing, and your benefit as well. And then last but not least, 3 is also the Empress, and so it's connected to a lot of Venus energy, Earth energy, fertility and abundance energy, the sense of bearing something to fruition. So again, that brings us back to protecting, like owning your feelings and your boundaries, and you're not necessarily doing it so that you'll meet a certain outcome. You're doing it because you love yourself enough to unflinchingly stand up for and protect yourself and own your boundaries the same way you would for anyone you loved, the same way that you would for your child, the same way you would for your niece or nephew or nibling, the same way you would if you saw a child that was about to be harmed by a car on the street. You would pull them back, right? Unflinchingly. Be gentle with yourself if that is requiring untraining, deprogramming, and reprogramming of freeze response. That freeze response was there for a very good reason, and it's one or several of the many layers of emotion that you're going to be called to own and dive into. The depth of the King of Cups, like the ocean. And I'm being shown whales like I was being shown dolphins before. Your ability to safely dive deep into your own feelings, your own inner world, your own personal truth. And to own that, to express it by protecting it, by saying this is what's okay with me and this is not, based on how I feel and my personal truth. It's not up for debate. There's nothing to agree or disagree with. This is just what I need. I'm actually being called, I saw this very simple, lovely, matter-of-fact Instagram video the other day. I'm sorry I don't remember who the Instagram user who posted it was. It was a couple weeks ago, actually. maybe even 3 weeks ago at this point, that I saw this, and they said, if you're having trouble unlocking your boundaries, use the phrase, I am willing. This is what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z. So it doesn't entertain justifying the things that you aren't willing to do or are willing to do. It doesn't entertain negotiation. It's neither attacking nor defending. It's neither giving power to other people or trying to have power over them. It's simply, I'm willing to do this. If you need to, you can, if the other person tries to push, you can then deploy, I'm not willing to do that. But in so many situations, all you really need to say is what you are willing to do. And what you're not willing to do is implied by that. And for people who are respectful, that's enough. Unless there's a genuine, confusion or unclarity. So if you're getting real pushback, that in and of itself is a red flag for you, an alert for you. What's the back of the deck on this here? Yep, 6 of Wands. This is your victory here. And some of you might be feeling some like 7 of Wands or 9 of Wands energy with that need to protect your boundaries. But this is also kind of like the 6 of Wands is a little bit weary from having climbed to the top of the mountain sometimes. Not always, they don't have to be. It's fine if you don't feel that way, but that's an energy I'm getting right now. There's a lot of gray in this card. And it's just a felt energy that I'm getting clairsentiently and emotionally here, intuitively. But there's still a win. And there's a wholeness, a whole, hale, hearty energy that comes from, I have successfully defended my championship, defended my place. I'm not coming down off my pedestal or lowering myself to your standards. I'm not stooping to your level. I'm not allowing, if being around someone or something would drag me down, then I'm not being around that. I am protecting my energy. Yeah. If polluted air is making you sick, you're not the problem. That's not something defective about you that makes you, quote unquote, unable to handle polluted air. The problem is the pollution. Get out of the polluted area as soon as possible. And if you can't get out right away, put on a freaking mask. And that's coming through from Poseidon as well. Employ defensive measures until such time as you can get out, and make that time as soon as possible. If you've had a timeline or you've been postponing it, move up that timetable, baby. Very strong message from spirit guides for any of you who have been maybe doubting the decision that part of you knows you need to make to move on from some situation, a relationship, a job, a family situation. I'm being called to a Light Seers Tarot. I just cut the deck to Death and Rebirth. So that is aligning with our world energy. Cleansing yourself of the past and reaping the rewards of your commitment to a better future energy. What was I just saying? 7 of Wands. And this is very much a particular depiction of the 7 of Wands that really enforces the meditation we were describing earlier about fortifying your bubble. So that is very strong confirmation here, and it's also confirmation of the rainbow of energy and the strengthening of the light within you that you stand to gain and feel deeper and readier access to as a result of your unflinching dedication to self-protection. 5 of Wands. Interesting. Okay. Help me clarify this, Spirit. Like, on the one hand, this is the conflict that some of you are walking away from. On the other hand, this is also... What can I do about this? It's that help with the glare a little bit? I think it does. This is also you being unhesitating to deploy your fire, being unafraid of your fire, in my opinion. I interpret this card very differently in different readings, but that's what I'm getting here, is like rising to the challenge, not showing up to every battle you're invited to, but rising to uphold your boundaries instead of collapsing and becoming a doormat in situations where that's been your conditioning in the past, because that was what enabled you to survive in childhood. Don't beat yourself up for having learned to collapse, for having had that ingrained in you in some way, for having experienced defeat. There's nothing wrong with you for having experienced defeat. As Poseidon is saying in my ear now, every great warrior experiences defeat. You're not a warrior otherwise. The only warrior who has never experienced defeat has never actually been in a battle and is therefore no warrior at all. So he's actually saying don't pity yourself for having experienced that, and also don't beat yourself up for having experienced that. Don't make that mean something about you. Don't make that mean that you are a pitiable creature. Don't make that mean that you are worthless. Don't make that mean that you are weak. It's just something you've experienced, and that is the mud out of which your lotus is growing. That is the trial by fire from which you've learned to access, through which you've learned to access your own fire and say no, actually. One of the powers of this type of like visualizing your boundaries meditation is actually visualizing when someone is aiming that type of repressive energy at you. Just picture it missing. Like picture yourself sidestepping it energetically. You could picture like a dummy version of yourself, a mannequin version, like a decoy getting hit instead. Because that type of decoy can absorb the energy so that then it can be sent to the earth to be transmuted. So if that is helpful to get into that level of detail in your visualization, go for it. But it can also be as simple as just, nah, that can miss me. I'm dodging. I'm stepping out of the way. Bye. I don't need to be here for this. I've burned myself out trying either to succumb to your every whim and demand, and I'm now realizing that it's never gotten me anywhere, it's never created any change, or I've burned myself out trying to fight, trying to explain, trying to make you understand, and I'm now realizing that's never gotten me anywhere. You're committed to misunderstanding me. You're never going to. And either way, now I am walking away, protecting my peace, serenely refusing to step down from the mountain, step down from my pedestal, stoop to your level, refusing to trade blows, simply dodging, sidestepping. That meme is coming into my head. I don't remember the exact words, but it was like, in my lane, moisturized, unbothered, something like that. So that unbothered energy. And also, okay, this is where another layer of meditation is really strongly coming through as well. With this light here, I'm really seeing it very strongly and feeling it very strongly. Meditating to call your energy back to yourself and to purify it on its way back. So you can picture the light being purified by being filtered through your bubble as the energy that you have expended on or left in certain situations or invested in certain people or things that didn't pan out. As you picture that light of that energy traveling back to you, you can picture it being filtered by your bubble so that it's purified and renewed before it enters your field. You could also picture it going into like a vase or a pitcher where it's purified, and then you pour it into your crown chakra to be circulated through the rest of your being once it's been purified in that vase or pitcher. Or you could picture a fire within your solar plexus, or whichever area of your body you're called to, your heart, or outside your bubble, or under your butt, you know, wherever. Picture an energetic fire that burns the impurities away from that energy before it comes back into you, or as it comes back into you. And really restore yourself in this way. Come back home to yourself. Renew and reinvigorate yourself. Replenish, strengthen. Poseidon is saying, eat. You have battles yet to come. You need your strength. And there's also a little bit of a pun in the way that he's saying it, about saying, like, you know, you're going to be able to congratulate yourself. Either you already can, if you've already removed yourself from the situation and elevated yourself beyond the situation or these people's reach, or you're going to be able to congratulate yourself, and your spirit guides in that case are saying, you ate. The Magician. This is very much that energy of transmutation in calling the energy back to yourself. This was actually the back of the deck energy, so that was on the back of the Light Seers Tarot, which I'm being told I'm now done with. I'm being shown this sunrise light behind the Magician as the dawn after the dark night of the soul. And I'm being shown this wielding of shadow and light here of this vortex as similar to the whales going down into the depths of your being and your emotion, the emotional ocean. The Magician needs not fear the depths of the shadow, because the Magician understands that it is all one, and it is all part of themselves, and they are part of it. And there's no differentiation. It's just a flow. And the Magician is a master of flow. A master of flow, a master of zooming in to the tiniest detail, zooming out to the biggest picture, picking out the threads in the tapestry that they need to, seeing the entire whole of the tapestry. Put this situation and these people in their proper place in the tapestry of your life. Put this moment in the proper place in the tapestry of your life, its proper place in the tapestry of your life. It may have significance. You are the Magician. You are self-determining in that. You determine the level of significance you assign to any given moment, event, occurrence, happening, happenstance, circumstance. There are situations in which victimization happens to every single person alive. No one is exempt from having experienced that. That truth coexists with the truth that you also have the power to assign levels of power and significance to certain things that have happened to you. And that is not to be used to bypass or bulldoze the times when you are just in the thick of it, or need to allow the emotions to have the level of power and intensity they have, and not try to force them or control them into having more or less power or intensity than they have, okay? But it is to be used in this process of healing, closure, and moving on. Because that is, this past, present, future thing is a really big part of this reading. That sense of part of healing trauma is being able to make sense of the event within the narrative and the story of your life. Being able to tell the story. Even if it doesn't completely make sense, being able to feel the differences between you and the version of you it happened to, and yet feel the felt knowing and understanding that you are the same person. You've grown from it, you've changed since then, etc., etc. You might be a completely different version of yourself, but you have this level of integration where it doesn't feel like that happened to someone else. There's a dissolution of dissociation. And by dissolution, I mean it's dissolved. And so those walls are dissolved and broken down, and you're able to flow into and out of the memory. The memory isn't this black hole sucking you in, and it's also not something that's walled off so you never touch it. You're able to access the parts of the memory that maybe you need to sometimes. Maybe you need to remember parts of yourself because there's strength in vulnerability, there's strength in caring and feeling, and you might have walled off those gifts along with walling off the trauma. Maybe that part of you was super genuine and you've been defending yourself since then by being less genuine, and you actually are wanting to recover that genuineness. And so one part of many parts of that recovery is experiencing parts of those memories again, being able to touch that part of yourself and to own it. Again, that own your feelings is really the core here. It's really the core message of this entire reading. There's just so many layers of meaning to it. The willingness to throw down, to defend yourself, no questions asked, no hesitation. The willingness to flow into and out of memories, to experience pain. Sometimes it's painful to defend yourself. Sometimes it's painful to relive memories. There are times when pain is worth it. We have to choose. We have to choose. Something that's been extremely powerful for me recently. Something that I've relearned so many times in my life, you guys. And I just keep on having to come to deeper layers of it. And very, very powerful for me in the last few days has been to realize and remember and re-own that it's so much more important to me to be and feel alive and empowered and real than it is to be free of pain. And there's a Buddhist saying, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, because suffering is generated when we resist pain and try to make life pain-free when it's simply not. And there's that Princess Bride quote, life is pain, anyone who tells you otherwise is trying to sell you something. I don't 100% agree that life is pain, because there's also a lot of other things that life is, but pain is part of life. Life is going to hurt a lot. You didn't come into this life to hide from it, to hide from pain or to hide from life itself, which are one and the same thing. Hiding from pain is hiding from life itself. So there's this visual that I'm getting, and this felt feeling that I'm getting with the magician of them phasing into and out of memories and parts of themselves to reintegrate and almost to practice, getting really good at zooming in and out, getting into tunnel vision and the flow state of focus on a really specific tiny detail, and zooming back out to the bigger picture and breathing deeply, phasing into this memory, feeling it as if it's happening now, phasing back out as I integrate the memory and call that energy that was stuck in that memory to be purified and poured back into my core light, and fueling my fire that way. The magician is able to, the magic lies in phasing through all these feelings. The only way out is through. I think that's a Robert Frost quote. I think many other people have said it as well. The magician is willing. The magic is willingness. And that's the same as the willingness to throw down to protect yourself is the same as the willingness to let down the defenses that are actually walling you off from life itself. Two sides of the same coin or sword, two wings of the same bird, etc. They are one and the same willingness. Protecting yourself does not mean walling yourself off. It can mean walking away. It can mean throwing it down. It can actually mean diving head first into the very memory you least want to go into, to show that part of you that is stuck or lost in that memory. You're worth it to me, actually, and I'm going to rescue you out of the burning building. And once I've rescued you, the burning building will finally be able to burn all the way down to the ground, and I won't have to live with that fire constantly burning my wings anymore. And I'll be able to rehabilitate and recover you, little child that was stuck inside that burning building. And yes, that's a metaphor, but I think it's a powerful one. And I hope that it resonates with you folks. I'm grabbing the tea leaf oracle here. That's my singing bowl. Final messages for pile 1, please. Well, family wishes come true. This is signifying that being able to go down in and come back up at will. That we were just talking about with the Magician as well as the King of Cups. The ability to phase through all the different layers and depths. The bucket lowers down, it carries gold back up, it carries nourishing holy water back up. You're not, I'm being shown Lassie and the child who is stuck at the bottom of the well. You're not being asked to lose yourself anew in these past traumas or memories. Lassie, the Lassie of your feelings, your traumatic flashbacks or intense triggered feelings, are Lassie alerting you that your own inner child is stuck in the well, and you're being asked to place a finger, a tentacle of your energy, a limb of your energy, extend up a part of yourself into the well to go rescue them. And maybe it will feel like you're extending your entire consciousness. Maybe you're, I'm getting a few different images. It might be a part of you that is lowering the bucket down and another part of you that is in the bucket to grab your inner child and put it in the bucket with you, and then tell the part of you that lowered the bucket down to reel it back up, right? It might be a spirit guide who is protecting you and maneuvering the bucket for you. You might not need any bucket imagery whatsoever. You are just phasing through the different depths and the different layers. You're not gonna, how do I put this? It's not being demanded or required of you that you, or obligated of you that you, obliged of you? It's not being required of you that you be consumed and eaten alive by these memories or flashbacks or triggers or feelings. It's being required that you allow them, that you listen to them, and that you go to the parts of you that are crying for help, that are screaming for help. Sometimes that will feel like being eaten alive by feelings or memories, being consumed, being overwhelmed, temporarily drowning. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes it's a lot more manageable than that. There is always another side. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel, a dawn after the dark, a future after the past and present. There's always another side. And you're not being asked or required to do something that's truly unsafe for you. You know, get resources, you know, hotlines, therapists, counselors, text hotlines, friends, family, spirit guides, whatever works for you. Even if it's like literally setting a timer to make sure that you come back into your body, whatever works for you to hold a safe space. Crystal gridding yourself while you go into these memories and setting a timer with a soft chime to gently call you back. Playing grounding singing bowls while you go into this, and knowing that at the end of the track you're gonna phase yourself gently back into integration. Whatever works for you to create that demarcation, that safe container. The King of Cups is this combination of the masculine containment element with the surrender to feeling. That's the mastery of it. That's why I always, that's why I always see the magician as non-binary. It's one of the ways in which I see that. Okay. I hope that is resonating and is a helpful message for y'all. Sunrise, new creative ideas, new ventures, a fresh start. What was I just saying about the dawn after the dark? And this sunrise is over water, just like this King of Cups energy, this well energy. You're going into the well or the ocean of your emotions. And they might feel like a whirlpool or a tornado, and you might be surprised how much they become like still, peaceful, nourishing waters after you go in and rescue the parts of you that are in turmoil from within them. And maybe even more than being still waters, they become waters that are yours to command. So they move at your beck and call. The waters of your energy become something that you are a master of instead of at the mercy of. This is the power of owning your feelings and your boundaries, and choosing with your free will, not forcing yourself, but choosing to rescue yourself. Dealings or relationship with a man. For some of you, that's relating to this family thing. Okay, I'm getting a few different things here. So take whichever ones of these resonate. Some of you, your past trauma has to do with misuse of masculine energy, as someone who is domineering, as someone who engaged in that negative type of ownership, that abusive type of ownership we were talking about before, because that is shadow masculine energy, whereas light masculine energy is that positive form of ownership, holding a safe container, the King of Cups. For, I would say, most of this pile, this is also signifying a masculine energy dominant spirit guide that is here to help you. Poseidon, for most of you. For some of you, maybe others, archangels are also coming through. Archangel Michael, or as I pronounce it, Mikhail, is very strongly coming through with the Ace of Swords. His sword is yours to command. Thank you, Mikhail. Very generous of you. Call on spirit guides to defend you when you're in any situation. Truly. That's what they're here for. That's why they signed up to be spirit guides. So that they can offer protection, cleansing, healing, guidance, purification, renewal. They're here to help. And open your imagination to receive that help in forms you may not have thought it could come in. Okay, I thought there were other interpretations to the man card, but I'm being told those are the only two. We've already kind of talked about re-owning the positive, the light version of that masculine ownership energy, so I don't really need to go into that again. Gavel, involvement with the law. I'm getting justice being done, and also singing bowls or gongs will be helpful for cleansing your energy and grounding your mind, clearing your mind, integrating your energy, purifying your energies, and sealing in the protections on your field. And then this rescue of yourself and this willingness to protect yourself in the present are both forms of justice being done. And be as unhesitating. I'm kind of getting that imagery of the portcullis being dropped. Like, don't hesitate to lay down the law. Don't hesitate to shut the gate on anyone who's bringing less than pure intentions to the door. That's what the portcullis and the moat are for. That's what the gavel is for. Do not hesitate to lay down the law. It's a really big message this whole reading. Yeah, mice discord among friends or family. Yeah, you know, you've heard the skittering, you've heard the mice in the walls. Trust yourself and lay down the law. No more hesitating, no more wishy-washy, no more back and forth, no more second guessing, no more self-doubt. You're done. Time's up. It's time to lay down the law, folks. Angels, spiritual guidance, protection from harm. Yep, you're being protected from harm. You're being guided in protecting yourself. Yeah, we're going to put this right here, right alongside the moon and the King of Cups. I meant the moon within the world card there, and the King of Cups. You are already being protected. It's time to align yourself with those energies that are trying to protect you, and choose to participate in protecting yourself rather than letting in any mice. Because if you choose to let something in that can make it impossible in some circumstances for your spirit guides to protect you from it, because you have free will, and so you've overridden their attempts to protect you from it if you've gone and let it in despite your own, against your own better judgment, or against your own intuitive messages, against your own boundaries. So it's time for you to kick the mice back out if you've let any in, whether you let them in knowingly or just simply didn't realize there was a hole in the wall there, metaphorically. Either way, it's just simply time to seal up those fortifications and those boundaries and kick out what needs to be kicked out and keep it that way. And take regular measures, meditate regularly, check in with your feelings regularly, call your energy back to you and purify it regularly. Use candles and baths and showers and water, lakes, rivers, oceans, the light of the sun, sage. Use the elements, like the magician. Utilize the elements, wield the elements to purify and protect yourself, to keep your energy running and flowing smoothly and constantly and without interruption. Forest, muddled, unclear thinking. What I'm getting from this actually is how we say, we use the metaphor of being able to see the forest for the trees, and I'm being called back to that with the magician of being able to zoom in and zoom out at will. So don't lose sight of the big picture just because one person or situation has gotten you down or has exploited a weakness in your boundaries. Simply use the new information that's come to your attention, and don't allow rot in one tree to compromise the whole forest. Burn away that rot to save the rest of the forest. It's okay if that means that you're grieving a part of yourself or a version of yourself or a relationship or a workplace or something like that, a hobby. It's okay if there's grief involved, because maybe that tree once seemed to thrive before it became clear that it was actually rotting. Or, whether that was true or whether that was an illusion, the grief is still valid and real. So it's okay if that's involved. And this is also a signal that for some of you, being too zoomed in and too stuck in whichever gear you're in is what's causing your thoughts to feel foggy. And so if you can zoom out, meditate, clear your thoughts, see the bigger picture, and engender that flexibility in your thinking, the ability to zoom in and zoom out at will, you will find your thinking to be much more clear, and that Ace of Swords will go upright. Yeah, clouds, temporary problems. We have the sun coming out from behind the clouds, the sunrise, and you rediscovering your focus, refocusing with a different lens. Like you might find that clearing these clouds, rescuing yourself from these traumas, protecting yourself, actually removes a lens, maybe from the conditioning that said that you always had to collapse or succumb to other people's will. Maybe clearing that fog away removes a lens through which you were viewing everything in your life, and you actually see everything much clearer now and recognize, oh, I actually have agency and power. I have the power to make choices in all of these situations in my life, and I wasn't even noticing because I was treating myself like I was just a jellyfish that just had to be moved by the waves and couldn't choose where to go myself. But I actually can, and I'm seeing everything clearer now. Lenses like that were created by past traumas and conditioning and programming are going to be taken away so that you can see things more accurately and clearly. I think one more, spirit guides. Older woman, dealing with a relationship with an older woman. What's that about, spirit? Is that... Interesting. I'm being given this kind of dual energy of like there may have been a traumatic relationship with your mother or with another older woman in your childhood, potentially a grandmother. I'm also being given a grandmother beyond the grave who is seeking to help and guide you right now. For some of you, this is a grandmother or mother or another maternal ancestor who's actually seeking to repent, who's seeking to address karma they created, seeking to repair damage they participated in happening to the family line. They most likely would not have been the only person at all, the only culprit at all in doing this to the family line, but they are seeking to be a real active advocate for repairing it. And I'm being shown them weeping with you as you excavate these memories that just need to be dug up so that they're no longer haunting you. I'm being shown them weeping with you as you kind of exorcise these demons and ghosts from your past and from the family line. And with the family wishes come true and the spiritual guidance, potentially even the dealings relationship with a man could also relate to you. And we also had discord among friends or family. You and your ancestors collaborating to heal the family line, and this being the wish come true for yourself and for the ancestors. And the universe being really strongly on board with and in favor of this, and really pushing you with the currents of universal energy to allow this to happen. And lastly, on the back of the deck here, we have hills, obstacles to overcome. And that is in alignment with our 6 of Wands there, climbing the mountain and refusing to stoop to the level of maybe previous family members who acted poorly. And also we have, again, the sun cresting the horizon. Good times are on their way, Pile 1, and you are instrumental as an agent in making them happen and bringing them about for yourself, for your family line, for your friends or family group. And you are to be congratulated for your bravery and determination in choosing a new life for yourself. Thank you so much for being here. I wish you all the best with fortifying your energy and protecting yourself and removing yourself from these situations and healing these memories. I have been walking the same path for many years. You are not alone. And if you feel called to a personal reading or healing to assist you with any of this or with anything else, check out my website. I also offer space clearings from a distance or in person for homes and land or other buildings. And you can email me to inquire about that or about any other services that are not directly for purchase on my website, because I just have individual readings that you can purchase immediately, and everything else has to kind of be done by inquiry so that we know what we're working with here. I thank you so much for being here. A quick note also, my website URL has also changed from the past to match my YouTube handle. So if you are confused, have been confused about that because on past readings the link might be broken because I haven't gotten around to changing the link to the new updated version. Just an FYI there. I'll probably make a text post on my YouTube page to make everyone up to date on that. So thank you for being here. I truly hope these messages have helped. Your spirit guides are giving me the namaste bow with the prayer hands and offering that same to you. I honor you. I honor you and the light and the sacred within you, with and from the light and the sacred within me. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care.